Unlike the humans in the Dragon Age universe that have about, like a dozen different factions to choose from, the elves only really have two. One called the City Elves, who live in larger cities and are treated like second-rate citizens by humans, while the other faction, the Dalish, reject human culture and cling to what little is known of their civilization that ended almost 2,000 years ago. The Dalish wander the wilderness, traveling around Thedas in small groups called clans, and distinguish themselves by marking each other in honor of their gods. These markings are called the Vallaslin. Welcome patrons. Today's video is going to focus on two things: the Dalish practice of Vallaslin, meaning blood writing in the ancient elven language, and what each of these designs mean. First, let's talk about some common questions regarding the Vallaslin. What is the process of getting Vallaslin like? In Dalish culture, getting your Vallaslin is seen as a coming-of-age act done around the age of 18 or so. The Dalish believe that it reminds them that they will never again surrender their traditions and beliefs, a reference to all the times that the elven people have been conquered in modern Thedas. Not much is described about the Vallaslin ritual, but a codex entry available only to Dalish wardens described the process as this. The ritual deserves great reverence. The one who is to gain the Vallaslin must prepare by meditating on the gods and the ways of our people, and by purifying the body and the skin. When the time comes, the keeper of the clan applies the blood writing. This is done in complete silence. Cries of pains are signs of weakness. If one cannot tolerate the pain of the blood writing, then they are not ready to undertake the responsibilities of an adult. The keeper may stop the ritual if they decide that one gaining the Vallaslin is not ready. There is no shame in this, for all children are different, and our ancestors once took centuries to come of age. Are Vallaslin on other parts of the body? As far as the written lore goes, there's really no evidence for Vallaslin on other parts of the body, although this is a very popular headcanon. The only visual proof that we might have is a set of armor in Dragon Age 2 that shows bright blue markings on the body, but the armor is never actually used by Dalish characters. The Lavellan tarot card in Dragon Age's Inquisition also shows body markings that seem to match the facial designs. This is the only piece of released artwork that actually shows this feature, and it should be noted that the other races have body markings as well, so it might just be artistic representation. However, this doesn't mean that some Dalish don't have Vallaslin in other parts of their body, just that it isn't necessary to complete the ritual from childhood to adulthood. Do different clans have different designs? It's never been said outright, but there is a plausible case for it. In Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, we have one set of Vallaslin used, then this changes in Dragon Age Inquisition. The clans we meet in Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 primarily roam around Ferelden, while the clans we meet in Inquisition are in Orlais, and then the Lavellan Inquisitor is from the Free Marches. Perhaps the different sets are actually just because of a change in art direction in the series, but it could also be argued that some Vallaslin are regional, and that different clans use different design variations. Can elves have unique designs from their other clan members? From what we can tell, yeah. There are cases in the games of some Dalish having unique designs, the most notable being Mythal and Vallana. Although both designs are similar to others, Meryl's matching DIO's version of Dirthamen's, and Vallana's similar to DIO's Ghilan'nain. This suggests that each god has a series of patterns that can be used in one's Vallaslin, not a design that must be repeated over and over. What colors can they come in? At least from the character creator in Dragon Age Inquisition, it could be honestly anything, although NPC Vallaslin seem to come in more muted, earthy tones. Like any tattoo, the Dalish need to use an ink to create the color, so dyes that use more natural colors should be more common among the Dalish, but it is possible to trade for that really bright neon color some want to use. Now, as mentioned earlier, each Vallaslin's design is in honor of one of the elven gods, also called by the Dalish the Elven Creators. Developers of Dragon Age Inquisition actually uploaded a very helpful image showing which design belonged to which creator. Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 Vallaslin are a bit more mysterious, although some people have a pretty good idea as to what tattoo goes to what god based on the similarities between them. So, let's go through each member of the Elven Pantheon, starting with Elgar'nan. Known as the Allfather and the leader of the Pantheon, Elgar'nan is the god of vengeance. He is said to have been born where the sun bowed to the land and is described as being both beautiful and clever, but overly proud and his vengeance terrible. Elgar'nan is known to have created the stars in the sky when he battled and won against his father, the sun. The elves believe that the dwarves are fearful of the sun because of Elgar'nan's fire. Elgar'nan's Vallaslin might be one of the more rare ones that players choose, perhaps in part because it literally covers half of the face. In fiction, I would also argue that it would have to be the hardest Vallaslin to sit through because of its coverage, which fits well with the harshness that Elgar'nan is said to represent. The alternate version just uses the main design but lacks the density. For the most part, their DAO and DA2 counterparts are the exact same as Elgar'nan's full version, although they do sport a half version of the design. Mythal. Known as the Allmother and goddess of motherhood, love, and justice, the counterpart and wife of Elgar'nan, Mythal is said to have been born of the sea and one of the only ones able to calm Elgar'nan's fury. She is known to have created one of Thetis' two moons from the glowing ground where the sun fell asleep. The Dalish often pray to Mythal when they want protection, and symbols associated to Mythal are dragons as well as a leafless tree. Completely opposite to Elgar'nan's, Mythal is probably one of the most popular Vallaslin picked by players, perhaps in part because there are 4 variations. The complex version makes the image of a leafless tree going down the nose, across the lips, and going down into the chin to look like roots. A less complex version from that takes away the markings on the nose and chin, just leaving the markings on the forehead and the cheeks. Another variation takes away the branch markings on the cheeks, making just a smaller version of a leafless tree on the forehead. Going even farther is a variation of just the cheek branches, which actually seem to be one of the most popular ones among fans. Of the DAO and the DA2 designs, none are actually extremely similar to Mythal's, so this is mostly just guesswork on my part, but to me, these 2 designs scream leafless tree more so than the other ones. Falon'Din. The god of fortune and guide of the dead, twin brother of Dirthamen, son of Mythal and Elgar'nan. Falon'Din, his name means friend of the dead, is known to carry souls beyond the veil. When the elven people were once immortal, Falon'Din would guide the sleeping souls of the tired, elder elven and help them learn the secrets of dreams. His symbol is an owl and is often depicted as a hooded, pointing figure. Unlike a lot of the Vallaslin, both of Falon'Din's designs don't seem to have much in common with his associated symbols. Both tattoos, most noticeably in the less complex version, looks like a tree running down the face, complete with roots that take up most of the area below the eyes. This could represent the tradition of burying dead elves beneath trees. Another interpretation of this design, and now showcasing the more complex version of the tattoo, is that its twisting patterns could be representing the paths in the Fade that Falon'Din is to guide you to. For the most part, the older versions of these designs keep the general shape but are less complex and twisting, perhaps just due to the graphical limitations. Dirthamen. God of secrets and knowledge, twin brother of Falon'Din, and son of Mythal and Elgar'nan. Dirthamen was known to be devoted to his brother, and there is rarely a tale without the 2 together. When he was once separated from Falon'Din, he was approached by 2 ravens named Fear and Deceit, who he subdued and had them carry him to his brother, now bound to his service. His symbols are the bear, 2 ravens, and the Fen'Harel, each an elven monster made of wood. Like his brother, he is also sometimes depicted as a cloaked figure, but he kneels rather than points. The imagery of Dirthamen's Vallaslin is reminiscent of a raven, with the markings on the forehead looking like a bird's outstretched wings. The rest of the markings is unknown how it correlates to Dirthamen, but perhaps itself is a reference to him being the god of secrets. The old version of this Vallaslin looks nothing like the new version, and I'm really only pinning this to Dirthamen by process of elimination, as most of the others are pretty obvious. Andruil. Goddess of the hunt, mother of the hares, sister of the moon. She is believed to be the daughter of Elgar'nan and Mythal, or sometimes even the daughter of the land. She is the creator of the Vir Tenadal, a set of rules the Dalish hunters aim to follow on the hunt. She is said to have watched over animals of the forest, and as such, her symbols are the hare and the hawk. It is also believed that an owl serves as her messenger. Andruil's Vallaslin makes the most sense to her imagery. Shown here on the less complex version of her Vallaslin, it's an obvious bow and arrow, Andruil's rumored weapon of choice. The more complex version of this design only adds to the bow and arrow, some parts looking like branches of a tree, perhaps even in reference to her Vir Tenadal, meaning the way of the 3 trees. Older versions of this design is mostly the same, only changing minor details and the complexity of the lines. Ghilan'nain. The goddess of navigation and mother of hala, Ghilan'nain is said to have been a hunter of the elven people and was described as being very beautiful with snowy white hair. She was favored by Andruil above all others. When she angered a hunter who had disobeyed Andruil, he captured her, blinded her, bound her, and left her for dead. When she prayed to Andruil for help, she rescued her, and due to her wounds, turned her into a hala. She then returned to her people, who she guided to the hunter so that he would be brought to justice. She would be brought into godhood for this devoted action. Her symbol is obviously the hala. Much like the goddess herself, Ghilan'nain's only Vallaslin is reminiscent of the hala, the forehead marking twisting upon itself like the horns of her beloved animal. The DAO and DA2 versions of this are even more inspired by the hala, and even add a complex version that adds details to the cheeks. Sylaise. The goddess of the hearth, childbirth, and domestic arts. She is the sister of Andruil and daughter of Elgar'nan and Mythal. While Andruil hunted and played in the forest, Sylaise preferred to stay at home to sing and make art. She gave the elves fires and taught them how to make rope and thread, along with the ways of healing magics. She is seen as the protector of those who stay close to the hearth and children of the clan. Similar to her sister Andruil, Sylaise teaches the way of the Vir Atishan, the way of peace, which is the teaching of healing magic. Her name is also invoked during Dalish wedding ceremonies. Her symbols are flames and the hearth. Sylaise's design is confusing. In the complex version of the design, it shows what looks like twisting branches, or perhaps even ropes, across the face and the chin. The simple version of this design is one of the smallest designs available, covering only one eye. As both of Sylaise's Vallaslin are fairly detailed, using shading and 2 tones of the chosen color, perhaps her designs are made to look more artistic, much like the goddess herself. Older versions of this Vallaslin are easily some of the oddest in the game. It keeps a similar rope-like pattern on the forehead, but the rest features what looks like wheels, perhaps representing the Dalish Aravels, which are land ships that the clan lives in, and what also looks like a small flame in the middle of the eyes. Ghilan'nain, the god of craft and construction, the brother, or sometimes husband, to Sylaise. He taught the elven people to make weapons, armor, aravels, and sometimes even harnesses for the hala. Out of all the elven gods, the least is actually known about him. However, there is an insolvable wooden puzzle carving that the Dalish called Ghilan'nain's knot. Ghilan'nain has 2 main Vallaslin, both featuring a crisscrossing pattern that seems similar to both weaving and branches, perhaps a reference to the Dalish use of iron bark, which is the type of bark that is said to be extremely strong, and used in many Dalish weapons and armor. This variation uses many dots into the eyes and cheekbones, while the other uses lines around the eyes that branch off from the main headpiece. Both designs also offer a neck piece, which is unique from the other Vallaslin in the game. Older variations of this design are similar to the lined Dragon Age Inquisition Vallaslin, one version only taking up half the face while the other branches down over and into the mouth area. Fen'Harel. Fen'Harel is unique to the Pantheon as he has no known Vallaslin. He is the god of betrayal and the trickster god. He is believed to have once been kin to the other elven gods and accepted by those of the Forgotten Ones as one of their own. Fen'Harel is said to have betrayed the elven gods and the Forgotten Ones, locking them away, which is why they have been absent for so long. The Dalish believe that he was never fond of the elven people, and after the fall of Arlathan, he spent centuries in a far corner of the earth hugging himself and giggling madly in glee. Despite his negative association, the Dalish still honor Fen'Harel. Often a statue of a wolf is put outside the Dalish camps as a reminder that the Dalish must protect themselves from evil spirits. Keepers also wear rings depicting Fen'Harel's betrayal as a reminder of their duty to protect their clan from him. He is also known to patrol the Fade, eating the souls of the dead. The Dalish often invoke his name as a curse, and some clans have been known to play savage games on human prisoners which invoke his name as well. The name Fen'Harel actually translates to Dread Wolf, which is why his symbol is the wolf. The Forgotten Ones. The Forgotten Ones, which are not to be confused with the Forbidden Ones, which is a group of powerful demons, were said to be evil counterparts of the creators, ruling over the domains of disease, terror, spite, and malevolence. Little is remembered of them, although the names Elgar'nan, Anaris, and Dirthamen are whispered to be a part of their kind. It's unknown if there is Vallaslin associated with these gods, but there are reports of elves in Orlais who worship the Forgotten Ones who wear bright red marks on their face. It's said that these cults sacrifice humans to the Forgotten Ones. Common Dalish would consider anyone who would worship the Forbidden Ones a criminal, believing them to have betrayed their people in the search of dark power, much like the Forgotten Ones themselves. And that, honored patrons, is the common knowledge of the Dalish and their mysterious Vallaslin. This week I also want to thank Reddit users Tabris929, Nuclear Judas, Nightingale Eyes, Pobobo, and Schuldig7 for letting me use all of their lovely Lavellans in this video. Really, any and all support I get towards this channel honestly means the world to me, so thank you guys so much. Anyway, do you still have lingering questions, or perhaps proof that I'm wrong? Comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at @Gildersalon on Twitter, or send a PM to user Ghilan'nain on Reddit. Your ass sure all.